Someone in the chat told me that the piece stand on my side wasn't visible, so I thought I'd better just explain the game now in a separate video. So let's go. My opponent was black, so let me flip the board so you can see it from my side. Okay. Well, with this 7/7 silver, he's playing a yagura. He's going for yagura. And I said I was going to try for a hayakurigin, which is popular nowadays. I just started playing this opening not a very long while ago, so I'm still kind of trying to get the hang of it. One of the things that you have to worry about whenever you do this type of diagonal attack, let me draw some arrows. After this, you always have to worry about this traditional bishop counter along this diagonal. So that's what I was worried about. But it actually turns out that I didn't have to worry that much about it. I can show you later on. Right now, this is a possibility. But instead, he just continued on making his castle. Notice that his rook and silver are kind of lagging behind. That's not a good sign. One of the characteristics of this hayakurigin is that you try to play all your attacking moves as quickly as possible. So this is actually what happened was a perfect situation of what, very active play against a very passive play. Although I didn't follow it up, unfortunately. I did this. Since this was a 10-minute blitz game, I tended to play a little more conservatively. Maybe if I had enough time, I would have taken a little bit more look at this. This is very much in the spirit of the opening. So let's see what happens if he takes it. And here, and then I was worried about here, but notice that the bishop moved here and then here, so that took 2 moves, so he ended up losing a move. Usually, let me go back a couple moves. When the bishop is here on 6/8, that it moved from 7/9 in order to make way for the king, so you can go like this. But because the bishop is on this diagonal, he's probably not going to want to put the king there anyway, because a lot of really nasty things can happen to it. Right now it looks like the diagonal would be closed, but that can change very quickly. So a lot of times nowadays, what they do is they keep the bishop on this diagonal. So these guys are facing each other. It's a very you see that kind of stuff more often, and you also don't see the silver being placed for a yagura nowadays. I mean, you still occasionally see it, but it's not nearly as popular as it was. When I was playing actively. That was a while back. Okay, let me get back to that variation. 7-5 pawn. Okay, so this is what I was worried about. Okay, so right now he's hitting my rook, so I have to do something about that. If I move the rook to 9-2, it's no longer as active as it was before. So then you think of a 6-4 pawn or 7-3 pawn. With 6-4 pawn, what you have to worry about is as soon as the silver on 7-5 moves, then the pawn drops. And then they'll hit the rook and this pawn on 5-3. The other move is this. And at first it looks very unpalatable because, I'm trying to attack on the 7th file. And I just traded the pawn off only to drop it back here. But there's actually, if you can get over that initial revulsion, you can actually start seeing good things happening with the position. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, because my silver is in an active position, I threaten 8-6 pawn. So I had to drop the pawn back for defense, but I'll just get this 8th file pawn back. So it isn't that much of a loss. If he does this, I can just continue solidly. He's going to play 2-5 pawn, and I just move my king here. Later on, I can play 8-6 pawn, and there's nothing really you can do to stop it. What about this, though? About that. If pawn here. Maybe something like that. It's a bit scary here. Hitting the rook and then maybe threatening to pull back the token here. I don't know. Maybe I should just sack the rook. Because if this, then I got 2 pieces for the rook. And I threatened to promote the bishop here. He also doesn't have pawns in hand. But then he can do this. And he threatens 7-2 token. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Yeah, it looks kind of scary. So what happens if I just move the rook up like this? Stopping the token from going to 7-4. Still threatened to take the knight. If here bush takes 8-7 pawn, gold takes 7-6 silver, takes from here, but then he's going to start attacking, harassing the rook. Let me just show you. Oh wait, I don't have to pay 7-6. Well, let me show you what I meant first. Maybe he can start harassing the rook like this. If here takes here, yeah, this is kind of annoying too. Okay. Okay, so maybe I have to find something else. What about something like this? If here, then the gold can come up here. He doesn't have pawns in hand, so he can't do that promotion like he did before. Yeah, this looks possible. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the game. Oh, excuse me, this position. So after 7-5, instead of 7-5 pawn, I guess another alternative is just playing like a left mino or tsuno gingangi. Silver comes up here, and golds come up here, and king will come up there. Move the side there. Yeah, this is also possible. But probably in the spirit of the opening, this thing is definitely called for. Especially since he's been playing so passively. Okay, let's go on. Okay. And now this is the second kind of critical point. And right now playing very cautiously, I pull this thing back. And this is what you call kiai make. Kiai is spirit. Spirit and I is like meeting. And make is to lose. So I very cravenly pull the silver back. Still under the spell of this move. Yeah. I was afraid of doing this because the rook is a bit passive and the silver is kind of stranded or appears to be stranded. He doesn't have a pawn in hand, so that's what he's going to play for, and then try to trap the silver with 6/6 pawn. So if he tries to get it in the center by doing this, bishop takes. You see, I have 2 pawns in hand, so I can immediately start counter-attacking against his major pieces. Like this. Of course, if the gold takes, then this bishop drops. So rook must take, and then I have my other pawn, and I do that. If he takes here, I'll just grab like that. So I'm attacking this gold and his horse, and no good for him. If he takes it with the gold instead of the rook, I can exploit this pinning situation. Takes, and then the rook gets back into play like that. Now it's active. Of course, if the bishop moves anywhere, then the rook falls. So you see the silver ended up getting up. Yeah. So if I had been a little bit more calm, I probably could have figured it out. But a lot of times when you have short time controls, you start being afraid of ghosts, and end up playing really passive moves. Sometimes it works opposite, and you just play really active moves. Too active, so active that the moves are kind of unsound. So short time control games tend a lot of times to be games of extremes. In this case, yeah, it's kind of passive. It isn't a losing move by any means, so but I missed an opportunity. So kiai make, remember that. So I just want to bolster my center. The position isn't super bad for me. You notice that this bishop's diagonal is open because he pushed the pawn. And because the pawn is here, it's a bit overextended. It means at some point I'll be able to get a pawn in hand by pushing this pawn to 6/4 and trading it off. And then you notice that his king is right on this file. That's another thing. And anyway, that's all of those things happen in the game. But you notice his silver here is just still, he has to get into play, so he did that. Okay, and then I get my pawn in hand. And now this silver can go here or here. But right now, I get this tempo move in, threatening here, and with this fork. So he goes there. And then I just very calmly move the silver here. So this does close the bishop's diagonal, but it makes his play in the center a lot more. Yeah, it's going to be hard for him to get things started there. Although he can maybe try something like that, like in the game. I don't know. It's starting to look worse and worse for his side, though. protect my king. And he did that. So if I simply take like this, you notice he managed to trade off his attacking silver, and he also threatens to promote here. So this, in my opinion, is a bit too accommodating. So at least I didn't mess up here. Sometimes the opponent wants you to follow just one line or react to his threats. And then you have to think about your own possibilities. So I took a little bit of time here and I saw something. There's going to be this typical tactic, starting with this. Now, if the silver takes, this bishop's diagonal opens again. So maybe I have a move like this. So threatening like this. If he does like this, then I can just drop a pawn here, put more pressure. So he took with the pawn. And then later on I'm going to have this tsugifu tesuji. I mean joining pawns. But first, I'm going to make use of the fact that I can get another pawn in hand. Like this. Okay, he recaptures, and then I do this tsugifu. If he takes the pawn, then I grab the silver like that. He recaptures, and he does threaten. Whoops, sorry about that. He does threaten this promotion, but this time the rook can run here, and then there's a fork this way and this way. It's a juji bishop. Yeah, crossroads rook. Okay, let's go back. So he ignored it. He ignored it, and then he took here. Okay, so I recapture with the bishop. Not with the pawn, because I want to keep the bishop's diagonal open. Okay, and he takes. Knight takes. If the silver comes up here, then I do that. So that's no good. If the bishop comes up here, I can take this and not promote, so it's with check. So he pulls the silver back down here. And now there's a typical pawn sacrifice. It's like this. So he's in a real bind. You notice that there's a weakness here on 6-6. Also, the position of his king is kind of, to be desired. The head of the bishop's also weak. So if silver takes, then the bishop will just promote. Yes. So the gold takes instead. And you notice now that he takes here, this gold, whoops, this gold here is, the square here gets even weaker. Okay, so I drop pawn here. Now the knight is defending the 7-7 square, so he can't run the gold there. He does this, and then I just very naturally drop the pawn here. See, now that this, whoops, let me get this arrow back. Since the gold, oh shoot, sorry, this BCM shogi, when I'm trying to draw arrows, you have to use the wheel button, and sometimes it causes me to advance in the game score. So, since you did that, this silver drop was possible. Right here, I simply take it, and he attacked my rook. Okay, so moved it back, and then he tries to counterattack on my silver. Okay, so I just take. If the king takes instead, I throw in this check. He blocks, and then I have a very nice light move, making use of my silver. I just take here. Gold takes, and then that allows me to promote the pawn here. Now if king here, I can just very calmly take the knight, and then notice that these squares are, all I need is a silver or gold in hand, and then he's going to be in big trouble, so I just give up the bishop like that. And then now I threaten mate on 5-8 silver. And incidentally, I'm also attacking the gold. Okay, so that means he will take the token like that, and then I promote the rook. So we're here, and the pawn drop here. He has to take it, because if this, then I drop the silver. Whoops, no, not that. I drop the silver here. So gold will take. Silver drop here. King up here. If king back to 7-8, I can just grab this. Takes, check, and then I grab this guy too. Right now I threaten mate with 7-8 gold. If takes to clear the square, then just this. Like that. So king here, and then you notice my dragon's being attacked by the silver. Should I retreat it? Do I need to retreat it? No. The number one rule in attacking play is that if you don't need to retreat an attacking piece, you don't retreat it. Simply take like this. And then if silver takes, and check, king up, and then you just grab that. And there's just a promoted silver here, but he simply doesn't have enough to defend. This is a completely losing situation. Threat is bishop. Bishop drop here. King up here, and then gold drop mate. Well, if he runs here, then there's this check, and like that. Easy. It's going to be an easy mate. And if silver takes here, then there's easy mate like that. Okay. So let's go back. So he, instead of taking it with the king, he recaptured with the gold. So that means I can rescue my silver. And now I threaten to promote the pawn on 6-7. The bishop here. Yeah. Okay, here. So my bishop's being attacked, but my position is really solid, so I don't really have to worry about that, about him capturing it. If nothing else, I'll just recapture it and get the silver in hand, and that'll help me with my attack. So I played this. An alternative move was this pawn drop here, forcing him to do something with the gold. If this, then what? I do this. If king 7-9, rook 7-8 mate, so he must take it. Takes, and then let's see, rook drop here, and then king back somewhere, and then hayakurigin, like that. Yeah, so this 5-7 pawn is pretty strong. This is also perfectly okay. It also threatens mate. He dropped so here. And then now I also still have this move 5-7 pawn. If gold here, then I simply take it. Instead of that, I took the gold, and the king recaptured. If he captures the rook like this, then there's going to be a mate here. King takes, check, and then I can use the pawn like that, check, and then mate. Go back. If bishop takes, then similar position like that. Yeah. Here. Notice that the silver is pinned, so I just did that. No need to rush. If I wanted to play a little bit more exactly, I could have done this check. You should always try to play accurately. So that means looking at forced moves like this. If bishop takes, then there's a very, very nice move. This. Saving the bishop from being captured. So this is a threat mate. Because the silver's pinned, one of the pieces, either the silver or the bishop's threatening just to take this. So bishop takes here, and then the silver is no longer protected, so you can sack the rook, and like this. And no matter where the king goes, there's an hayakurigin mating. Okay. So he moved here, and then I just threw this check in, just to save the bishop. King here. And now I can just get rid of the rook. He has no really good squares to drop it. This rook on 8-1 protects my back rank. So I just grab the silver like that. Okay, and then now this silver is well placed, and I also threaten for a bishop drop. and then here, and then he resigned. Because if here, check, and then mate. Okay, so just to recap this, okay, okay, when you're being attacked, don't just follow the opponent's moves. Look out for your own play. So when he did that, I was already looking for tactics for my side. Like that. The Juji Bisha and the Tsugifu. Everything worked out really beautifully in this. Yeah, weakening this area. So like that. Okay. So after that, it was pretty much finished. And then about the opening. Yeah, I've never been a super theoretical player, but I've been trying to change that over the years. Very, very tough thing to do. So as for the opening, I learned I could have done this. Like that. And I'm going to have to check this again later on, but to see what's the best response to this. I did look at this. But it remains to be seen. And what else? Oh, here. This is the last thing. Kiai make. Should have taken. Yeah, at this point, he has a pawn in hand. He threatens 6/6 pawn. So I have to do something with the silver very, very quickly. Like that. And then I have that Tetsuji again. But you notice even here, he no longer threatens 6/6 pawn because I can just take it, as the bishop is really strong on the diagonal. Yeah, just get a pawn in hand. Yeah, yeah, this is very good for my side. Okay, so I probably need to keep playing this opening and just getting used to the natural hayakurigin moves. There's no other way to do it. You just need experience. Okay, so anyway, that's it. Now, thank you for joining me today. If you'd like to join us on Discord, let me get a Discord link, and I'll post it in chat. Please, you're welcome to join us. Also, if you found that this helped you and wish to support the stream, please consider making a donation. It isn't necessary, but always welcome. And anyway, I hope this helped, and that I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.